Don't you guys hate it when your nose gets really itchy but you have a full face of makeup and you can't scratch it because then the makeup will rub off and it's really irritating? Happy Monday. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of my favorite beauty or makeup products of 2017. And these are not necessarily products that were released in 2017. They're just products that I really liked and enjoyed and became my favorite in the year of 2017. I'm going to try to go in the order in which I do my makeup, so we're going to go ahead and start with primers. My favorite face primer was the Benefit Professional Primer. Now this is a pore smoothing primer or a pore filling primer to make your skin appear more smooth, and it does just that. This primer also does not break me out, does not clog my pores, and does not irritate my skin. For eyeshadow primer, I'm going to let you guys go ahead and guess. And if you've been around and been watching my videos, you definitely know that my favorite eyeshadow primer is the Photo Focus Eyeshadow Primer by Wet n Wild. Now for years and years, I used to use the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. And this year I found the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Eyeshadow Primer, and I will say that they perform almost equally. The only eyeshadow primer that I have purchased this year or in 2017 was this Wet n Wild one, and I really truly enjoy it. I don't think that I would go back to the Urban Decay one because, like I said, they perform almost the same, and this one's only $5 compared to the $25 Urban Decay one. For foundation, I went through several different brands. I got the Wet n Wild one, the Milani one, L'Oreal True Match, and a lot of them didn't match my undertone or my skin tone. Sometimes they were too pink, sometimes they were too yellow, sometimes they were too dewy, and other times they were too dry. But eventually I found the Revlon Color Stay Foundation, and I will say that this foundation is the one that matches my skin the closest, and I enjoy the finish of it. I have the shades 320 and 310. I found that right now during the winter, 320 is a little bit too tan for me. So I mix 2 pumps of 320 and one pump of 310. I mix it on the back of my hand and then apply it to my skin. They have 2 versions of this foundation. They have one for combination oily skin and one for normal to dry skin. I buy combination oily because my face is oily. And the finish is not matte, but it's not dewy. It's more in the middle. And throughout the day, my face does not get oily, which is something I highly enjoy of this foundation. It also has an SPF of 15, and I will say that it dries really quick. So my favorite way of applying it is taking it on to a foundation brush. Mine's dirty because I just used it, but a brush like this, I spread it out around my face, and once my entire face is covered, I'll go in with a beauty sponge and just pat it in so that the streaks caused by the brush fade away or blend out. And this is a medium coverage, but it's buildable, so I really enjoy this foundation. In my routine, I do my eyebrows after foundation, so that's what I'm going to talk about now. My favorite eyebrow pencil or product of the year was the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Definer in the shade Ebony. I liked this shape better because my eyebrows are a little more full, so I don't have to be as detailed and precise, hence why I like the shape of this. And for brow gel, I just use the Clear Brow Gel by Anastasia. And after I'm done filling in my eyebrows with the brow definer, I carve them out using the Super Stay Better Skin Concealer by Maybelline. This is in the shade medium, and it has a medium coverage. So what I do is just take the applicator and go around my eyebrows, and then I blend it out using a beauty sponge. And this will cover up any mistakes I made with the brow definer, and it will perfectly blend into my foundation, and I really enjoy this for that step. Now for a face concealer to brighten up my under eyes or to highlight or to cover up any dark areas that I need to cover up, I use a Tarte Shape Tape. This is also in the shade medium. And I'm not going to talk too much about the Shape Tape because, as you know, it's everywhere. It's basically everyone's favorite concealer of the year. But this is a high coverage concealer. Blends out really well. Does not crease under my eyes. Perfect concealer. I love this stuff. Now for contour. I'm still learning how to contour and bronze. Like I've said before, I did eye makeup a lot longer before I started doing face makeup, but I found it easiest to contour with these two products, and I do use them in combination. And my cream contour that I use is the Fenty Beauty Matchstick in the shade Mocha, and this is obviously a contour color, a nice brown shade. And what I do is I just apply this to the cheeks, the temples, and sometimes to my nose, not always. And after I'm done blending it out, I go in with the Shade and Light palette by Kat Von D. Now, because I am still learning how to contour, I tend to stick to these two lighter shades. If I'm feeling daring or I want a little bit of a harsher contour, I do dip in a little bit into the darkest shade, but it's just a light dusting of that color that I use. And then to brighten up under my eyes and the bridge of my nose, I tend to stick to these two lighter shades. Like I said, this is my favorite combination that I use to contour, and these two just seem to work easiest for me, and they make contouring a lot easier itself to do and to blend out and to practice. So these two are definitely a recommendation if first of all, they are high-end. So if you do have money to spend on Fenty Beauty and Kat Von D, I highly recommend these if you're starting to contour, because I find these easy to blend and easy to use. The bronzer I used the most was a NYX Cosmetics matte bronzer in the shade Deep Tan. One of the main reasons I used this bronzer and was one of the favorites of the year was because the color worked for my skin tone. I have trouble finding bronzers that are deep enough for my skin tone and that are matte. So if you have any recommendations of deep colored bronzers that are matte, please go ahead and leave them in the comment section. I prefer matte powders on my face because I do have textured skin and I don't want to highlight any of that texture. But as you can see, other than me dropping it and it being all crumbly, I did hit pan, and it's a pretty color if you don't apply too much. If I apply too much of this bronzer, I'll get really orange. So I need to have a light hand, but when I do, it looks really gorgeous on the skin. Now, I'll give you 2 seconds to guess my favorite blush and my most used blush of the year. And that is the Flower Beauty Flower Pots Powder Blush in the shade Sweet Pea. This is a beautiful blush. It's also matte. It's a mauvey, pinky purple type of color. And it's one of those blushes that no matter how hard you go in with blush or how much you apply, it will not immediately show up super pigmented. So it's really difficult to mess up your blush application when you're using this shade. And it's drugstore, it's matte, it's greatly pigmented, it blends out well. Definitely one of my favorites. We'll definitely keep using it, and we'll definitely try out more colors in the line. It's time for eyeshadows. And like I've said before, I've done eye and lip makeup way more than I've done face makeup. So I have tried many different types of eyeshadows, not necessarily a lot of brands, but definitely a lot of palettes and single shadows and whatnot. And eventually I came down to only selecting these 3 palettes as my favorite eyeshadows of the year. Now these I bought back in winter of 2016, so I've used these the longest, and I've hit pan in one of the palettes in particular. But these are the ones that I go to a lot, that I recommend to other people. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the Lorac Pro. This is, I believe, my first Lorac eyeshadow palette. It is perfect for beginners because it has your basic colors. Your top row is matte, your bottom row is shimmer. I do have to say that they are very powdery, so when going in with the darker shades, you should either have extra powder under your eyes, extra translucent powder under your eyes so it can catch that fallout, or you should do your eye makeup first. What I did for my eyes today, I set my eyeshadow primer with the shade Cream. I applied the shade Mauve to the crease. Then I went in with deep purple to my outer corner and a little bit onto the crease as well. Then I applied the shade Champagne onto my lid, and I went back and blended everything together with the shade Mauve. On my lower lash line I also have the shade Mauve, and closest to my lashes I have the shade Black. It was supposed to be a very simple everyday eye look, but it turned into a purple smoky eye. So you have a lot of different looks you can create with this eyeshadow palette. And the colors blend really easy, and they're really pigmented, but they do have a lot of fallout. However, I truly enjoyed this palette because of how many looks I can make and because of how easy the palette is to use. My second most favorite eyeshadow palette of the year was the Tarteist Pro palette. Now this again I got back in winter of 2016, but it's definitely one of my other most used palettes. I don't know if there will be a glare, but I really like this palette because all of these are matte and they are highly pigmented, easily blendable. They're easy to blend, and the colors in here are really pretty. I don't know if you caught on to me, but I really like mauve colors, whether it's for lips, blush, or eyes. And this palette has a lot of mauve colors. It also has a good mixture of cool tone and warm tone eyeshadows. And then the 4 shimmers over here, these two for sure are duochrome, and I love duochromatic eyeshadows. This palette is also really good if you're a beginner because of all of the color variations you can get, and you can also make a whole bunch of different eye looks with it. It's definitely one of my favorite, and on top of how it works and how it blends, it smells really good. My favorite affordable eyeshadows of the year were these ones. These are both empty palettes that I filled in with Coastal Scents eyeshadows. This Cheetah palette, by the way, it's from Tarte and I got it at Ulta.com. And like I said, I have it filled with Coastal Scents single eyeshadows. I love these eyeshadows. They're really pretty and pigmented. I have mostly shimmers and metallics from Coastal Scents, and I like to use them wet and dry on the lid or as winged liner. Now in this palette I have most of my greens, pinks, and purples, and then in my other palette, this palette itself is from Coastal Scents, and in here I have my oranges and browns. But I highly recommend these Coastal Scents eyeshadows if you're looking to get into color but don't necessarily know where to begin. Like I said, these are highly pigmented, they're easy to blend, and my favorite way of applying it is with my finger, but that's just how I apply most of my shimmery or metallic eyeshadows because I feel like it applies the color better and the finish is more true of how the eyeshadow is supposed to be when compared to the pan and compared to when you apply it with brushes. I really like these eyeshadows, and it's just, they're not talked about as much in the beauty industry. You see, they swatch beautifully. The best part is that they are not on sale. They're $2. Sometimes Coastal Scents has a sale where everything is 50% off and you can get these for 99 cents. So I would highly recommend to take advantage of those sales whenever they will happen, or just go ahead and check out the Coastal Scents website and check out the eyeshadows. I really enjoy them, especially the colorful ones. I haven't tried a lot of matte shades, but if you remember back to my Sister Does My Makeup challenge, she used the Jolie Colibri eyeshadow palette. Hold on, let me get that for you. Here we are. She used this Jolie Colibri eyeshadow palette. I haven't used the palette enough to say it's one of my favorites of the year, but the colors blended really well when she was using it. So I'm sure that when you apply your techniques and your skills and your brushes to this palette, it'll apply beautifully. And also during their Black Friday sale, I picked up the Creative Me palette, which is all matte shades and these beautiful colors. Yes, you can expect awesome tutorials with a combination of beautiful, colorful eyeshadow palettes, you guys. I highly recommend Coastal Scents. These I have not used as much because I just got them during their Black Friday sale, so again, I'm not going to say they're my favorite of the year, but they swatch beautifully and they blend beautifully too. Just look at that. So leave me a comment down below. What color combinations do you want to see from both of these? Or what kind of tutorial or something? Maybe I can recreate an expensive eyeshadow palette look by using Coastal Scents. So definitely let me know in the comment section. But I highly recommend Coastal Scents eyeshadows. Again, they're super affordable and they're easy to use, super blendable and pigmented. That sounded like it was a commercial for Coastal Scents, but I promise it was not. I just truly enjoy these eyeshadows. Okay, you guys, we're almost done. I have 3 more categories. I'm finishing up eyes right now, and these are my favorite eye pencils. These are the Essence Long Lasting Eye Pencils in the shade Black Fever, Silky Nude, and But First Coffee, But First Espresso. I used the black one for my tight line. I used the cream one for my waterline. Sometimes I'll use both of these for both my tight line and my waterline. And they do not smudge, they do not run, they do not transfer from my waterline to my tight line. They stay put. They're a little bit difficult to wash off because of how well they still put. And it's Essence, so they are highly affordable. And sticking to Essence and eyeliners, my favorite liner for like wing liner is the Essence Gel Eyeliner. And this, I've had it for a while and it has not dried out yet. It's still basically brand new, or it works as if it were brand new. This gel liner is super easy to work with. It glides on really easy and it does not move, it does not smudge, it does not run, it does not bleed. It is actually a little bit more on the difficult side to wash off because of its staying powder. So power, not powder. I'm not perfect with eyeliner. I'm not even close to being okay with eyeliner yet. But this has made my eyeliner a lot easier and I can create the wing a lot easier too. And if I mess up or something, I can wipe away the eyeliner using a makeup wipe before it dries down, and it will go off really cleanly, really easily if it's not dry yet. So once the eyeliner dries, it's on there forever. We're almost done, you guys. We're almost done. And for mascaras, I love volumizing mascaras. Lash Paradise, if you've seen any of my eyeshadow tutorials, Lash Paradise is one of my favorites. And then I also love the Lancome Monsieur Big Mascara. These are both volumizing mascaras, but they work differently. I don't know necessarily how to explain it, but this gives me big dramatic lashes. The Lancome mascara gives me volume and a little bit of length. It's what I'm using today, and I feel like my lashes look ginormous and like really loud and dramatic. But when I use the Lash Paradise, it's like this, but to a lesser level. I just realized I forgot to talk about my setting powders when I was talking about my face powders, so we'll leave those to the end. But for now, I have a group of products here for lips. As you know, my favorite lip pencil is a Palladio lip liner in the shade Spice. I have 2 lipsticks that became my favorite throughout the year. They are the MAC in the Velvet Teddy and Rimmel London. This is the Lasting Finish Bacate lipstick in the shade, I don't know if it's 08 or 80, but they are both similar colors. But as you can see, they are both really creamy. That one was Rimmel, and then this one is MAC. They are beautiful nude colors, rosy type of toned colors. Then I also have this from Tarte. It is a Tarte Lippy Lingerie. This is a sample size, but this is in the shade Exposed. I would say that this is more of a lip crayon, and this is also really pretty. It's what I'm using today, and it looks exactly like Velvet Teddy. I think this one's Velvet Teddy, and this is the Tarte color. They look the same, but it lasts. It does not make my lips feel drying. It's a beautiful creamy finish, and it's definitely one of my favorites if I'm not wearing makeup or if I'm wearing a very basic neutral look. Same with this NYX Cosmetics Liquid Suede in the shade Soft Spoken. This lipstick is how much you guys want to bet it's basically the same color? See, this is NYX, this is Tarte, and this is MAC. They're basically the same color, just a different finish. Now with the NYX, I love the finish, and I love that it's a liquid suede lipstick, basically a liquid lipstick, but it's not super drying, and it's also a Your Lips But Better type of color. One more lip combination, you guys, and this is something, the two colors I have had for a while, but the combination itself I just started doing and I totally love it. Now I'm talking about the Kat Von D Everlasting Liquid Lipsticks in the shade Bow and Arrow and Double Dare. Both of the colors on their own are beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and try to swatch them for you guys. So this is gonna be Bow and Arrow, and then on top we're gonna put Double Dare. These are also everyday nude type of colors. When I mix the two, I like to put Bow and Arrow on top of Double Dare, and then that will make Double Dare look like the color it is, but more muted. It's not necessarily as red, and it's a really pretty combination. It's a beautiful formula. I really enjoy how easy they are to put on, and I don't find the Everlasting Liquid Lips to be as drying on my lips as other liquid lipsticks. For highlight, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Dream Street palette by Kathleen and ColourPop. As you know, the shade Moony is obviously an eyeshadow, but I love using it as a face highlight and as an inner corner highlight. That's what the highlight I'm using today on my cheeks, my nose, my cupid's bow, and my inner corners. Absolutely love it. But as you know, this collaboration just recently came out. So the highlight that I used most of the year was the Wet n Wild Mega Glow highlight in the shade Precious Petals. I'm sure you have seen this shade or this highlighter in general all over the internet. It's really metallic, really pretty, and it goes on the skin really pretty. Like I said, I don't like too much shine on my face because of the texture, but this doesn't necessarily emphasize texture. It's an absolutely stunning, I would say it's more of a rose gold champagne type of color. Another favorite highlight of mine after I figured out how to use it exactly was a Fenty Beauty Matchstick in the shade Trippin'. Now at first when I got this highlight, I was confused on how to use it the best. So it wasn't as pigmented and it wasn't working as well with me. But after playing around with it, I found that if I were to grab it with my finger and then pat it onto my cheeks, or grab a small highlighting brush and pat it onto my inner corner, or with my finger and rub it onto the bridge of my nose, it would work the best. I love to use this the most during the summer because it has a very golden color to it. See, I'm going to try to apply it right above where I applied the Wet n Wild shade, and as you can see, it's more of a peachy color, but it shines golden. I don't know how to describe. I'm doing really bad at this, describing the colors, but it's absolutely gorgeous. Now, I want to mention the Laura Mercier translucent powder because it keeps my skin from getting oily. It does not have flashback, and it does not cause a white cast on my skin. This is perfect. I haven't discovered any issues with it other than it being really expensive. But I highly recommend this one if you need a powder. Okay, you guys, last topic is setting sprays. Now, the D-Slick setting spray by Urban Decay is one of my favorites because it keeps my face from getting super oily and it makes my makeup last a lot longer throughout the day. And when I use this setting spray, I find it very difficult to rub off my makeup using a wet wipe or a makeup removing wipe. So this is a good recommendation. I truly enjoy it. It does not make my makeup go matte. It keeps it at its natural skin-like finish or more of a dewy finish, but it does not cause it to get oily throughout the day. So that was a huge plus when I used the setting spray. My second favorite setting spray is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Natural Finish Setting Spray. Now, this is a beautiful setting spray if you want a dewy finish look. But sometimes I do combine these two to get an extra dewy finish but to control my oiliness. They make for a good combination, And if I do not want my makeup to last as long, if I'm only using it for a couple of hours, I will only set my makeup using the Wet n Wild, and it goes on beautifully, it stays on beautifully, and my skin gets a dewy finish, but it doesn't get oily right away. I also use this setting spray to foil eyeshadow, or when I'm using eyeshadow as eyeliner. You don't need to go out and buy the expensive MAC Fix Plus. You can just use this Wet n Wild setting spray. You'll get the same effect, and this one's only $5. That is it for this video, you guys. I feel like it was a... That is it for this video, you guys. I hope it wasn't too long of a video, and let me know if you want me to make a video including skincare, hair care, and favorite beauty tools of 2017. I didn't want to include those in this video because I didn't want to make it super extra long and boring of me just talking here. You should also let me know what products worked best for you and what products do you guys recommend. Maybe I can check some of those products out and see if they also work for me as well as they did for you. And lastly, you should leave me a comment down below letting me know what kind of products or color combinations you want to see in tutorials. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video.